All right. I think we are live and ready to go. Sorry that the lighting's not too great. I didn't bring my light, and yeah, I mean, we have some pretty nice backdrop light, but we'll see how it goes. This time, I did have my microphone had attached. I was watching Wednesday's video on playback, and I was like, "Oh no, the microphone wasn't tied up right." I thought it was. I was speaking into it the whole time, but it wasn't. So it was a little raspy. Um, all right, everything's looking good. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And also, guys, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Hope you guys are enjoying your Black Friday. Today's a half day trading in the markets. How do I switch my screens here? 1 second. All right, there we go. So today is a half day trading. And for us, it doesn't really matter. We only trade the market open, but at least we get a little bit of fun. So I think the market stops around 12. I would have to double check that specifically when it stops. But for us, it's more or less unimportant. We only trade that first 30 minutes, sometimes up to an hour, sometimes even 2 hours if it gets a little crazy. But um, yeah, just that little morning open is really what we're looking for. Let's review the watch list today. So we have WKHS and CANF that I'm really looking at. ASLN and a few others are pretty interesting as well, especially the big run from PNRL on Wednesday and HEPA Wednesday as well, just kind of slaying it. So those we're definitely going to be watching, but WKHS, which is really big in the auto parts community, and it has some recent spotlight on some 41 million secured in funding, and the Cybertruck unveiling because it deals with a lot of batteries and trucks and all these and that kind of whole category. So it's kind of been in the spotlight a little bit as kind of like a trendy stock. And yeah, there's loads of support under 2.5. So let's quickly go ahead and look at that. So here we have a WKHS Workhorse Group Inc. And pretty nice little afternoon rally right here, starting around 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock really. And this was a big pull to the upside. 1 second, it's not clicking. About 8%. I mean, nothing too wild, but still, overall decent. I mean, this thing has a market cap. What did I say it was? Around 53 million float, and here their shares outstanding are 66 million, so kind of like a 15-20% difference on that one. Fairly big market cap, 183, still makes it a small cap because typically small caps are considered under 250. So definitely in our range, but probably one of the slower movers. So if we see this thing come down to $2.50, I think that's when I would really like to grab onto it. We already have a limit order out though at 265. So let's see if how strong the morning panic is. I'm not really sure if it's going to go much under 265, but who knows? It might go into this territory about 2.6. So that would be we'd be risking around 1.72%. So let's see what happens. What I would really like to see with WKHS, if you go to the charts, they're a little longer term view right here. Let me just move down a lot of this stuff. These always somehow get unaligned. It would be nice if they were a little bit more consistent and they kind of just didn't readjust themselves all the time. So I mean, we don't really use the RSI too much for day trading. Actually, we never use it, period. But long term, you see some really nice, a big breakout here, right? And this is when this financing was secured, I believe. I believe that's what this news was. And we got rejected here near this former 2.5 resistance area. But then we broke out back above it. And now this 2.5 area is acting as a really major support. So if anything, I should probably draw another line a little bit closer to this area, 2.5 right here. Probably just move that up a little bit. Just kind of identify this lower end 2.5. All right, well, it's about as close as we're going to get before I break my wrist. Yeah, I mean, we could probably stretch this out even a little bit further back, but let's, for now, just identify that this is just generally a big support zone. So I'm not sure if we're going to really crack back to 2.5, but I think 2.6 would be really nice to get a potential a little morning panic, and then we have this 180 tick moving average crawling up below it. So I think there's a lot of momentum here. This is kind of a trendy stock. I wouldn't be surprised if it did try to break to that break high, maybe past 3 again. And if it breaks past 3, then I think it could quickly pull up to 3.3. But that's all would be kind of aggressive. I wouldn't be also surprised if not really much of anything happened today. It is Black Friday. Maybe there's not going to be a lot of people trading today, or people are going to need to get their fix in for today, and they want to get back into trading. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not really too aggressive. I'm just gonna let's see how this thing reacts, and maybe we'll be able to snag a trade off of it. Overall though, pre-market's been selling off a little bit, so yeah, let's check out what else is going on. ASLN, I believe. One second, let me go back to this. Actually, let's go to CANF before we do ASLNs, because this one's looking a little hotter. So this one has a 4 million shares outstanding with 2 million float. I mean, that is ridiculous. 10 million market cap. This is a biotech with loads of positive news. So this is probably the one I'm going to be really looking at today. First news, it has a positive US FDA phase 3 study kind of going on. Reached some sort of agreement. I didn't really look into that agreement, but that's going on right now. It has some sort of program going on in Israel as well that I was looking into. It signed a distribution deal in South Korea, and let's see, and it has the hot and trendy cannabis industry as well. It's in the cannabis industry. That's what I was trying to say. So I mean, it's got kind of like a lot of news floating around in it, and it's kind of just all constantly coming out. I mean, a lot of this news isn't exactly new, but if you just go over here to CANF on Finviz, you can see kind of it's just been really building up a lot of momentum over the last few days. And yeah, with a float like the one it has, I wouldn't be surprised if it really just kind of exploded. And well, that's kind of what happened. So let's check out the chart. This is CANF, and it's already up 70% extended hours. So let's see what happens. I mean, it does have quite a bit of a resistance ahead, and it exploded past most of these resistance pre-market, and right now it's just chilling at around 3.84. So a little bit right here near the close of that last big spike, which again didn't really hold. So that's one thing I would really consider. It didn't really hold a lot of its spikes, and it also has one of these big gap downs. And these big gap downs sometimes, are basically just death drops. They just never really come back from those areas. So we'll see how far this thing can go. It also has the 180-day tick moving average kind of coming over here at 4.38 as well. So let's kind of see. This is going to be an interesting chart when the market opens. It's pretty funny being back in the States for the market open. I had a nice little wake up around 6:30, and then I went on a morning jog. It was really, really nice. And yeah, basically by, we'll be done basically with work by around 10-11, and then I'll probably work on Vice offers and the other companies. But for trading, it really cleans up the day entirely. Usually in Berlin, it'll be like 3:30 is when we kind of really start trading. So sometimes I'm a little tired by then, but this is pretty clean. So yeah, what I would like to see with CANF is maybe a bit bigger of a pullback. I would really like a pullback, maybe past like around 3.5 or something like that. So I'm going to put a alert here below. I'm going to put this alert. Perfect. Well, so let's see what kind of morning panic we get. We are holding our highs really nicely. I mean, this pullback here wasn't really too strong. A little under 20%. That was about 17%. And I mean, that's really what we like to see. We're holding that kind of upper area with the morning. So we're not really super overextended. I mean, we're definitely up a lot with the morning gap up, but we aren't, overextended pre-mark. We already had that pullback, which is really, really nice to see. I wish I could put a second limit order out here, but the way our cash is organized right now is we can't really do that. So we have our cash account, which is kind of used up at the moment. We moved a little bit, we reallocated some funds, and that kind of put me in a tight area with placing 2 limit orders on our margin account. So I don't know, it's not like the perfect setup right now. So we only have 1 limit order ready to kind of shoot off, and that's WKHS. Let's take these last 3 minutes and 30 seconds to just check out some of these other tickers quickly. ASLN, also just a bunch of rehashed news. I'm not really sure how I feel about this one. Had a big sell-off here, but you know, this rally on Wednesday was just ridiculous, 200%. We kind of missed that one. And then yeah, we did have that afternoon pullback, but then you know, in after markets, you know, came back again. So I don't know. This one's pretty interesting. It doesn't really hold those gap ups, and I wouldn't be surprised if today it kind of really didn't do much of anything. So, and then HEPA on Wednesday. If I was probably not trading, I was traveling, I think we would have slammed HEPA. And the reason I believe that is because we were talking about this trend line right here that is constantly pulling down HEPA, and it got rejected 1, 2, 3, 4 times, maybe even 5, 6 times, depending on what you want to count. And then eventually we broke out of this area right here, right around here at 5.35. We 100% would have entered that trade if I was online. I'm not sure. I think I was driving back to Vero at that time. I mean, that was a 24% breakout, so that was a little unfortunate we missed that one, but it's fine too. I mean, that's already around 11 o'clock. You know, if I'm going to be trading right there is already questionable, but that breakout was really nice, and we were kind of expecting it. I mean, we called that one out. You could check in the live stream, Wednesday's live stream. We were looking at that one, and that was right after our trade with what was it? SFET. So that was pretty cool. SFET, we landed 2 nice trades with this one. So that was good fun. A little bounce trade here, another bounce trade here. We had to be really careful though, because this one, you know, was just constantly selling off. But, you know, 7% total on those 2 trades. So that was really cool. And then we have a really, really small cap right here. 5.7 dollar volume, and then 6.1 million market cap. But this one, you know, is really a penny stock in the 20 cents area. And usually we're not going to be touching stuff like that. But, you know, I've been following a lot of these, and sometimes they really have explosive growth, especially because it's a NASDAQ stock, and it's going to get delisted if it doesn't go back above $1. So these things usually get pumped like crazy to get it back above $1. So I don't know. I'm going to be watching a little bit more. Maybe we could, you know, come up with a strategy for that. But I mean, check out these support and resistance zones. They're just as clean as can get. And you know, I just love when you see a stock that's that clean. So I'm going to be watching this one as well today, and maybe I'm going to put a little alert here, see if it breaks to the upside. Let me go here and place that alert. See if we break above 0.2. All right, guys, 20 seconds till the market opens. Let me move my coffee over here, maybe take a sip of some water. All right, guys, get ready. 12 seconds. Here we go. Take this moment to take a deep breath and leave a like. Let's get back to... Ooh, that was loud. All right, we entered this one quite quickly. Had that nice pullback, exactly where we wanted. Probably could have been moved our limit order down a little bit more. But let's see what happens. If we don't hold this 6 area, I definitely am going to be getting out of this trade pretty quickly. A lot of sellers at 64. Usually we don't ever enter trades so early. But, you know, that sometimes comes when you have limit orders ready to go. So that was a little aggressive, and we should probably remember that next time to be even more conservative and move our limit orders up instead. Definitely ready to get out of this trade if looks like selling pressure continues. But we are holding this area quite nicely. Remember, we got rejected here at the 2.8. I wouldn't be surprised if this one had a little bit of a green to red. 2.6, sellers really starting to form. I'm going to make sure our auto send is selected. I'm ready to get out at 2.59 if the price keeps dipping. We will have another trade available today. Or maybe not, actually. I'll have to see. A lot of sellers on the opening bell. Not exactly what you want to see. Bit bigger of a position size, about 1200. Closer to 1300 actually. Buyers are piling up in this area. We might have a green to red, but at the same time, I'm very, very cautious about this one. There's definitely some sellers here at 2.62. Quite a bit, actually, from all over the place. A lot of different exchanges kind of coming in here. And again, if we see this one give, I'm going to be getting out of this position pretty quickly. This might be where we get out right now. $2.6 is holding, but it's barely holding. Fairly weak here. Zoom in on the 5-minute chart so you guys can see a little bit more action going on. Not really much selling, not really much buying going on either though. Yeah, it looks like we got one of the slower movers today. I should have been more cautious on that entry. I think that really was my mistake this morning. That gap down really came very quickly. We tried to get out of it, actually. If you guys saw me, I tried to exit out of that order, but it just happened a little too fast. Man, that's why we're starting with a small account, so I can get rid of all those little issues that I sometimes have. Little weak here. The time in sales isn't too active. Here we go. I'm going to sell into the ask. All right, I forced that sale. If you saw that. And the reason I did that is because when these things dip, they can dip very quickly. So I sold into the bid. I moved it down from 59 into 58 where there were still bids. So we're down a little bit on this trade. Totally fine. This was a little mistake on my end. I left my limit order out there where I should have definitely just not left it. This thing can continue selling off, and I don't really want to be part of that. So I'm happy we got out of this trade as quick as we did. Small $30 loss, not the best thing, but let's move on. Let's see what we have here. I think I should have been a little bit more cautious because I thought I had a second trade, and I'm not really entirely sure if we do have a second trade today. It says day trades left 0, which is weird because I should have 2 more trades available. Let's go here to ASLN is taking off today. This would have been the one to go for. It's a little bit unfortunate. You know, this one's up 100% now, and we just took the one. That's the annoying part when you only have one trade, and that's why, you know, these next few weeks are going to be a little bit slow. This one is really taking off quite nice. So one more that I want to be looking at right now, I want to follow a little bit, is CANF. Let's see how this one would have done. Okay, this one also had that morning gap down, kind of like expected. Already up 3% from where we would have wanted to get in, around the 3.3. Let's go ahead and keep following ASLN. I think this one's really the prized possession for today. And let's actually look at the tick view a little bit. Let's see if we can learn from here. So where would some potential entries be? Again, guys, this is up quite a lot. About well over 100%. So any of these pullbacks back to the EMA, the 15 EMA, would have been potential great entries. Right here, I mean, this one, 12%. Yeah, so, you know, we were looking at the wrong stock today. That's unfortunate, and that happens. It was also a bit of my fault. I had that limit order too close to the market open. Usually I'll put the limit order far below it, and then I'll move it up when I think, you know, it's ready for a reversal. And this time, I played that wrong. So that was a mistake on my end. Kind of a ridiculous mistake. CANF, this is exactly where we wanted to get in. This one we would be up 5% already. And it looks like it's going to keep running way more. Yeah, I mean, that's stressful. This trade is doing exactly what we wanted to. This is exactly the other trade I wanted to get into, and we would be we'd be up nicely on this one already. Let's go ahead and just keep following ASLN. I find this one really interesting to watch. And I also like to pretend if we had a second trade, what would we be doing? This one might break past 7. Let's quickly go to the long-term chart, see what it looks like. So I wouldn't be surprised here at around 7 if we see major resistance, just because it was a previous floor. So if this is the only trade we're going to be able to make today, that's a little bit unfortunate to end the month on that little nonsense trade. But we're up really nicely this month. We're shy of our goal for monthly profit, but that's fine. We had some allocation issues this month, and we ran into a lot of little issues this month that I know in December that we're going to clean up. So that gives me a lot of confidence. And yeah, just little issues like, I mean, just like the one today that really should have not happened. Let's check out what's going on. It's still in this area. Looks like it popped back up a little bit. This might just continue selling off though. This could really just sell off for a while. So I'm pretty happy we got that sell order when we got it. I mean, you don't know how fast this thing could dip down. And this is our first bigger position in a sense. So let's go ahead and add this one. 6458. Oh. Oops, 2.58. Here we go. So this was a 2.27% loss. Yeah, it was a little bit bigger position, so that's also why it was kind of annoying, but oh well, overall, WKHS, I actually feel pretty good about this whole thing. I mean, it was an honest mistake. I'm not really upset about it. I really do wish, you know, we had that second trade. I was pretty sure we did. This was a morning panic that just didn't really work out in our favor. And again, guys, this thing is slowly selling off, so I'm a little more careful. I really like that big support we saw coming under it, but didn't really amount to much. Again, ASLN, I mean, this one is taking off. This one would have been the one to trade. I should have won today. I should have removed all limit orders. Not removed limit orders, but I should have moved them lower. That way I could have moved my limit order up. And at least I probably would have ended up closing this trade. I would have done the same trade, but I probably would have entered around 2.6, maybe 2.61. So we would have, you know, got out that trade maybe for a smaller loss, or just broke even. Or we would have decided not to do it, and then I would have noticed ASLN is rallying super hard, and I would have tried to get in on ASLN on a pullback to the anywhere on the 15 EMA. I probably would have went into tick view maybe, even though, you know, I'm a little cautious on tick view, and maybe try to enter on one of these little micro pullbacks, and then, you know, potential breakout on the EMA 15. So I think that's probably what I would have done. And that, you know, boom, we could have had a 7%, we could have had a 20-30% trade today. Or if, you know, if we really held it, we could have had, you know, 20%, 30% plus trade today. Oh well, coulda, shoulda, woulda. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to be ready for these moves. We're going to be more calm and collected. All right, well, I guess since I don't have any more trades, I'm going to call it on that one. That's a little bit unfortunate. I guess we could potentially trade this smaller account right here, this $500. you know, I mean, even if it's $500, if you make, 15%, but then we'd be reaching on a small account. So I'm not really sure if I want to be doing that either. But yeah, I mean, we could probably score, $70 or something like this. It would also, however, mess up my Monday trading a little bit. So I'm not really sure if I want to be part of that. But let's see if we can get a bigger pullback here and just a little bit longer. Let's kind of watch this a little bit. Yeah, I really don't know why I don't have trades because we used those 2 trades on Friday. Ah, okay, it's because there was a holiday. So it doesn't count as 5 business days. That's why. That makes total sense. Let's quickly check ASLN. This is the one I wanted to be the most careful with because I didn't really trust the news behind it. That's funny, actually. So we're having a bigger pullback now to 5.5. Maybe we could even have a bigger pullback back to $5. Let's see what happens here. And let's quickly go to the tick chart, see if we can see anything. And then here we're having a nice little micro pull. Pretty on the 5-minute, we're having a nice pullback as well. You can see here this $5.6 area, big support kind of coming in. We're kind of forming somewhat of a little downward slope right here. And maybe a break back to the upside could be really good entry. Let's make this a 5-minute chart quickly. A big support here, again, 5.6 seems like big support area. I'm a little nervous because there's a major resistance here at $7. Not entirely sure if we're going to be able to break that. But I wouldn't be surprised if it did try to retest to break that area. And that's, 20% away. But again, I would probably rather wait for a bigger pullback first before we entered this one. WKHS is at 2.59. Found some support in here at the 2.55. Slow mover though today, slow moving. I'm just happy, I guess, that, we just kind of closed out this one and we didn't sell down here at the lower area, which could have happened. So I'm kind of happy how that turned out. Although the entry just simply wasn't the best. I'm going to remove auto send. See if we can put a nice little limit order here at the 5. I think we may have just done another small mistake. Wow, why am I so sloppy today? That was really not okay. I think Thanksgiving really made me a little... I was waiting for that dip a little lower to 5.5. I would 5.0. I'm trying to think. I'm gonna have to watch that on playback. That's why I like live streaming these things, because that was such a ridiculous mistake that I just made. So I can watch that on playback and see where I went wrong. Now, guys, mind you, this is a tiny position size, $500. So I'm way more relaxed on this one, obviously. But you know, two mistakes today. On my entries, that is really annoying. Um, we still got a really nice entry. Um, but it wasn't the entry I wanted, right? And that's always sometimes annoying. Again, guys, I'm really cautious about the $7 area. I don't really think we're going to break it, so I'll probably be getting out of this trade if we get close to 6.5. If we can, you know, nail over 40 cents a share on this one, I'll be really, really happy. If we're a bigger position size, we already be up almost $90, almost $100 profit. So I'd probably be looking to take that as soon as possible. Let's see what this looks like on the tick chart. Again, I don't want to make any decisions on the tick chart just because I was a little sloppy last week on the tick chart. But let's see if this 5.58 area holds. If this 5.58 area holds, I think we could have a little rally off of it. All right, it's dipping below again. And we're back in the red. So taking profits quickly would have been probably the decision on this one. But, you know, with this small position size, it's really more of an educational trade. And, you know, you learn best by doing. So I'm pretty happy overall that we are able to take part in this trade again. Although, you know, it's really annoying that $5 that I messed that trade up a little bit. If this $5 area doesn't hold, I'll be getting out of the trade very quickly. Again, this will be a very small position, so I'm able to, you know, take really my finger off the trigger on this one and really just kind of sit back and see what we can learn on this trade, which doesn't really get any nicer than that. Also, with these no trading fees, it does allow us to be a bit more lenient as well on some of these things. So, I mean, overall, even though we misstaked the entry, it was still a fairly okay entry. It just wasn't really out of my will a little bit, which is a little annoying. I gotta say. So right now the EMA is still holding the price down. So we would need to break above the EMA with some decent volume. On the 5-minute chart, it's looking pretty good. It looks like we could see a little bounce in this area. Okay, here we're breaking above it. We're back a little bit profitable, at least. We really need to kind of build some momentum. Oh, big sellers here, 400. If we go back down, I'm going to get out of this one. 6-2, I'm out of this trade. That was just so many sellers that popped up. I wasn't really on board with that. So we're going to close that trade out. We're going to take our $19. We're going to end today with a small loss. Not really too bad. We would have ended today with this could have been a green day if we just allocated our positions differently. So this November was the month of poor allocation, and I think that's going to be my big takeaway from this month, just proper allocation. We got out of this trade the second we saw some really big sellers coming in. Also, ASLN has a lot of failed spikes. It has these kind of, right here, big failed spike, right here, big failed spike. Just kind of like these things that pull all the way back down. So I don't know, I want to be a little bit more cautious with this one. We exited at 5.62, so our exit was still looking pretty good. This will be really interesting to see what happens later in the day. Looks like I exited possibly too early. But again, those huge sellers that popped up right here at 5.65, really crushing the price every time. So maybe it was a good idea what we did. I really wish today we reallocated a little. Okay, we're breaking to the upside now, 5.7. All right, here we go. Looks like we exited too early, which is fine. There's a lot of big sellers on this one. I think there's a lot of people just trying to take profit. I mean, this thing is up huge, 120, 130%. And it's dipping again. This is where I would have wanted to enter at the $5. So let's see if our $5 entry would have been good. What I would actually like to see it do before we enter, let's say, is a crack $5. Let's say go to 490, and then selling pressure really disappears. And then I would enter on the way back up. That's what I would really want to do, because that means, there's really not that, the sellers aren't really there. So let's see. We would be long this trade right already. If my limit order properly was placed, we would be long this trade, which is kind of sketchy. So I'm happy we got out. We made a nice little profit. This is actually like a 4% profit. This was a pretty nice. So boom. Okay, so we dipped below $5, and now we're breaking back up. The selling wasn't that strong at $5. Now I would want to be going long right now. And here we go. This is looking pretty good. We're dipping back down. Now we're at 510. Yeah, this could be a really nice bounce here. So that's exactly what I was saying. So we break down below $5. We find that selling pressure is not strong at around 4.9. And then we use that to enter the trade. And look, that would have been a phenomenal trade. Let's go to the 1 minute chart. Yeah, this one would have killed it. We'd be up already 30 cents a share potentially, depending if we got on that 4.95 area, 4.9. Yeah, this is looking good. This is exactly the one we wanted, but at least the one we got wasn't that bad either. If we had unlimited trades, this would, we'd be able to trade this a little bit more aggressively. WKHS is back to 2.64, so that's interesting. Yeah, we'd be up 40 cents a share now. This is looking really good. Huge bounce potential. I don't think people are going to be looking to short this. People are probably feeling good. They just had Thanksgiving. Maybe got some Black Friday deals. If this thing breaks back above 5.5, this thing could really rally again pretty nicely, probably past $6. And I'd be selling around $6. Yeah, so this trade, man, we almost got it. We'd be up 10% right now. Small position, though. So that 10% is more like, only $50 profit, but still. Here we go. Here we go. Ooh, big sellers, 950. Ooh, okay. That would have probably scared me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like it's scaring some other people a little bit. But that would have been the trade. That would have been a 10% trade. If we're trading with $10,000 position sizes, which is our goal, that would have been $1,000 profit already. You know, that would be a nice way to start your Friday. That'd be a great way to start your weekend. Boom, up $1,000 just like that. So, you know, what I'm doing right now probably doesn't look too glorious. You know, up and down 20, 30, 40, $50. You know, $100 sometimes when it goes really well. But that's fine. You know, we just got to increase our position sizes. And I actually love the fact that we kind of have to start slow because it really allows me to take this very calmly and be a bit more technical and less emotional. Otherwise, this money, these swings would probably freak me out a little bit too much. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap the live stream up with that one. We're going to do a little review hopefully later today and check out some of these charts, see how these trades would have played out. And yeah, till then, guys, remember, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you are new here. We're doing a $25,000 journey. We're growing our 4K account to $25,000. And right now, ASLN is looking like it's breaking back up. Back above 5.5. Here we go. Ooh, it's ripping. 5.54. All right, I will leave you guys. Stay safe and make some awesome trades. Till next time, guys. Ciao, ciao.